What's up, everyone? So, my name is Chris. I'm a registered massage therapist, and welcome to the first Araya Health YouTube video. You know, I gotta say, this is long overdue. I've been talking about this for the last 3 years, and I kept on putting it off because it's easy to get caught up with things that preoccupy you in business. You get caught up with Instagram, Facebook, but I think it's time to cut to the ship. Welcome to the first video. So before we actually get to the meat and potatoes of today's video, I want to highlight something really important that I think most people are not doing. And it's the fact that I want these videos to give you a little bit more than just theoretical information. I want to teach you how to really apply knowledge. So I want to have the theory and I want to have the practice, and I want to sort of merge them together so it really gives you no opportunities to not improve your health. In other words, we have the theory, we're going to be asking ourselves why is this significant, why is this important, and then on the opposite spectrum we have the how. How do you apply this? How do you do this? How do I improve my performance? And when you bridge the gap and you merge both of these types of knowledge, these skills, you get this yin-yang effect. They both complement each other. And when it comes to your health, I tell my clients all the time, keep asking yourself why and keep asking yourself how. Why is this important? Why do I have to know this? Why is this happening? How do I do this? How do I improve this? And it's just a recipe for amazing results. So that's the skeleton of how I want to approach these videos. I want to provide you theory and I want to provide you practice. For today's video, we're going to be talking about why you might be having hip flexor to the front of your body, why you might be having tension to the front of your body that's not relieving, that in some cases this tension can be leading to a lot of lower back stiffness. Believe it or not, tension here can lead to a lot of neck and shoulder tension. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why the tension here is not relieving and how this tension can be rooted in tight calves. Sounds crazy, it sounds like it's really hippie-ish, like it's really out there, but believe it or not, our body functions relative to other parts of our body, and it's not as isolated as most people tend to think. We tend to have this idea that our body functions, our bicep does a bicep curl, my quads does a leg extension, but it's a little bit more complicated than that, believe it or not. And that's what I want to teach you in the theoretical aspect of this video. So let's get into this quick. I want to make this as short as possible. If we have tension in our hip flexors, right here, sorry, I zoned out. If you have a lot of tension here, like I said earlier, it can be rooted in having a lot of tension in our calf, and I'm going to show you right now why. This is how the average person walks. All right, it's me backwards. And just observe that for a second. Okay? I want you to look right here. This is called hip flexion, hip flexors, and this is extension, okay? When I walk, for me to get into extension, look what has to happen on my ankle. You see that? This is what walking looks like, okay? Do that again. Right here. For me to get into extension, my ankle has to go into what's called dorsiflexion, okay? See that? This is dorsiflexion. So, extension, dorsiflexion. The issue that comes up a lot of the times is that when we have severely tight calves, when we have a limitation in dorsiflexion, it won't allow us to get into extension because we're going to be too stuck over here, too fixated for us to move far. So what ends up happening is that when we have tight calves, we end up limiting our stride when we walk, and it becomes very depressing and sad. And you see it all the time. People walk with a really short stride. Something like that. They walk and they just reduce their stride to compensate for tight calves. The issue with this is that over the course of time, if we're not conditioning our body to get into extension right here, because we don't have the mobility to do dorsiflexion down here, you see that? If we're not conditioning our body to stretch, that tension starts to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate to the point where we have this, our butt starts sticking out. We have this really sad posture where we can't get into extension. I guess now that I think about it, a lot of seniors walk like this, right? Very slow. So why is this important to know? A lot of the times when I work with my clients, I'll try to release their hip flexors and they'll get the relief, but you give it a week or two and it tends to come back. Going back to what I said in the beginning, this is where you ask yourself why. Why is it not improving? It's a good chance that their calves are tight. And I think it's important for you to understand this because, like I said, we tend to get caught up in our body being very isolated, very segmented, that we overlook the fact that there's a strong relationship between our hips and our calves. So what I want to show you for today is how you can learn to release tension here and tension here so that your hips benefit for the long run and it doesn't come back in a week or two. You're actually improving performance, you're decreasing pain, and you're benefiting your health in so many other ways. But you got to respect this relationship, because if you don't, you're going to release this, and it happens time and time again. You're going to release this and it'll come back. So I want to show you with using this band right here. It goes for about $8, Treadmill Factory. You can buy it online. A lot of the stuff I want to show you is using this band over here. So if you want to participate, definitely get one. A lot of the content I put out involves a bit of an investment, buying a few tools, but I think it's definitely worth it because it puts pain management within your hands. So I want to show you my top 3 techniques, whether you want to call it a mobility drill, a stretch, whatever it is. I don't really care what you call it, but I want to show you how you can learn to resolve this effectively. All right, so check it out. All right, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna do this as professional as possible, but I gotta improvise. I'm at a park. So you're gonna take your band, you need a pole. Technique number 1. I'm gonna try to do this under 2 minutes. You're gonna take your band, put it around the pole. This is gonna be to mobilize your ankle, okay? You need a bit of a stool. I'm gonna use a tire. You're gonna put your, that's too high. You're gonna take your foot, you're gonna put the band just above your ankle joint, and you're gonna get into this position, okay? Look, this is really straightforward. I don't want to complicate it. I could make this complicated, but I don't want to do this. You guys are beginners. So put the band around your ankle, and all you want to do is take your knee past your toes. Everyone says don't do it, but just do it for this technique right now, okay? What you do to this leg, you must do to the opposite side. You don't want to encourage imbalances of any sort. That's a whole different story, right? So I want you to do this for about, let's say 12 to 15 repetitions, 3 sets, okay? It's really straightforward. So once again, oh, that feels amazing. Holy crap. What you do here, you must do to this side, okay? Look, it's really that straightforward. Even just doing this can help resolve a lot of the discomfort you have here, because now when you walk, this is gonna help you get into this position. When you walk, you're gonna be able to step with a greater stride because your calves are letting go, therefore letting your hip flexors get into extension. Take the band around the pole, put it around your ankle, step on a stool, and just take your knee past your toes, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, what I want you to do is get rid of the tire you have. Just get it out of the way. Now we're gonna stretch your hip flexors, okay? This is a little bit more complicated. Same setup, but we're gonna be switching positions. You're gonna be facing into the direction of the pole so that the band is pulling to the front of you, all right? If you need something comfortable for your knee, do whatever you need to for comfort, but this is the setup, okay? This band is gonna start pulling on the joint we have to the front of our body, so it's pulling us in this direction. Should feel a bit of a stretch right here. Brace your stomach, exhale, and let that band pull you as you're adding tension to the band by coming further backwards, okay? Bit of tension here, bit of a stretch here. If you want, you can make this more technical and then sort of pinch your glutes, but we'll save that for a different video. Let it pull you. Feels really good. Okay, you can balance it if you want. Hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds or until you feel release. Does that make sense? Wrap it around the pole, around one leg at a time. Feel for a stretch here. sit into it, okay? So, that's number 2. Number 3, what you want to do, we're gonna put it all together, okay? You're gonna raise the band so it's roughly at the height of your hip. You're gonna step into it once again, and we're gonna mimic that striding pattern when we were walking, okay? Same setup as before. You wanna keep your foot planted flat, okay? You're gonna feel a bit of a stretch here because we still have the tension on our hip. It's gonna continue to pull us. You wanna keep control by firmly planting your opposite leg. And this is really straightforward. It's gonna seem a little too simple, but don't overthink it. All you wanna do is bounce the initial movement of a lunge, okay? You're not getting into this. I don't want that. I want your foot planted firmly, and you're just bouncing it a bit. You're gonna feel stretching your calf once again. You're gonna feel stretching your hip flexor, but by doing this, we're putting everything together. We're putting the first exercise, the first mobility drill, we're putting that second hip mobility drill, and we're turning it into a solid movement right here, okay? Bounce it. Do about 12 to 15. If you have to write this down, write it down so you're doing this effectively. You wanna make sure you're following this exact formula, okay? 12 to 15. What you do here, you must do to the opposite side, and aim for roughly 2 to 3 sets, okay? If your heel comes off the floor a little bit, that's acceptable, but not too much. You want to bounce the initial setup, the initial engagement of a lunge, so that hopefully by the end of this, oh, that feels amazing, you're able to walk with a greater stride because we just mimicked that movement, okay? Look, like I said, this is a really straightforward video. I hope I didn't make this too complicated, but if you have any questions, comment below. I want you to subscribe, share to your friends. If you do this properly, it'll make amazing changes to your body, so let me know.